Hello, everybody. Michael Falato here again from Full Throttle Leaders and also the CEO of Full Throttle Falato Leads. I have Adam Barney here, a coach and author, a podcast host, just like me a little bit, and very talented person that I've just got recently got to know. So, Adam, tell me a little bit about what you do and why we're doing this podcast today. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, Michael, it's great to be here. Thanks. We've intersected a couple times over the years. I will say, I do go by Adam W. Barney. That W is important in the way that I present myself. So I just wanted to make sure
What's the
that
W
felt
stand
clear.
for, Adam?
Oh my gosh, you want to go back there? So the W, and then this could get into what I'd love to do, talking about two truths and a lie in the world.
Okay.
But the W actually stands for Wellington, and
Well,
that goes back 5 generations on my father's side. Not to go a little deeper into that fun fact, but I am the last male heir of the Barney clan, so it was important to bring that name forward. I have two young daughters who did not carry it forward, but we got our first dog just about 11 years ago, and he is a Basset Hound Poodle mix, and he looks like he's wearing a tuxedo. So his name is Wellington. He's where the name gets carried.
awesome. So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your coaching approach.
Sure. Yeah, so the simplest way I'd frame what I do is I help founders and leaders when the old playbook stops working for them.
Mm.
A lot of people think they need more motivation, they need more tactics, more accountability, especially now in the world, more hacks. And usually they don't. They usually just need a better operating system, and that's the core of my work, working with founders, executives, and leaders in transition. They're carrying a lot, moving fast, but then they realize that what got them here to today is not going to get them where they need to go next. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck because they keep trying to solve an operating problem with more inspiration. And inspiration is great for maybe, 12 minutes, but installation is what actually holds when things get messy.
And what's your ideal customer profile for your company?
Sure. So really, Michael, it's someone who, I call myself a transition leadership coach. As a leader, when are you not going through change? When are you not going through transition? We go through different seasons of what change looks like, but it can range anywhere from a founder or an executive who's scaling from maybe they were the founder operator, now they've got 50 employees, maybe they've even grown to 200 employees. It could also be an executive who maybe they've just entered sort of what really an executive leadership role requires, and they realize that the tools that got them into the role before that were not the ones that are going to help serve them as they ladder up in terms of that you know responsibility set that they hold. The third is, there are a lot of people in the world who are trying to make the world a better place, a more just and equitable place, and they need a little bit of confidence. But I like to take myself and, with people who maybe don't have a confidence or understand the path forward, be that person in their back pocket that can help them say you can do this and you can get there.
And then what's some things that you've learned in the last 6 to 12 months that you're like, wow, I'm glad I found that out because that really helped me either tactic, tip, or strategy, or something
Yeah.
that is completely bomb that we can learn from
Yeah.
what you lost on.
Well, I mean, one thing that happened, I've been trying to build this business for 5 years now. I've made some mistakes through that journey. And it's okay to make mistakes and to iterate. And I think iteration is important. My first book was published in 2024. It kind of weaves into my philosophy as a coach. It's called Make Your Own Glass Half Full, The Empowered Path to Optimism and Autonomy. And it's that it's what I've learned through my corporate career. It's what I've learned through building my businesses. The other piece of it, though, that comes into play, Michael, and I think this matters even more right now because we live in a world that constantly rewards visible activity, whether it's more outreach, more content, more meetings, more AI, more systems, more tools. that's really just more noise. And if you're not careful, and I've actually seen this myself through building my business, you can build a business that looks like it's moving while internally it's just getting heavier and heavier. And that's the thing I care most about, and I've gone through this myself, which is why I love to help other people. In because there are a lot of leaders out there who look successful, but they're quietly exhausted. And a lot of founders that I've seen actually are technically growing, but they hate how the growth feels.
Yeah.
And there are also a lot of operators who can still perform at a high level, but the cost of doing it is way too high, and that's where I come in.
And how do you normally charge for what you do?
Sure. So I charge on a 90-day transformational program, but I love to work longer term beyond that because that's truly where that transformation happens. That's a $5,000 package for 90 days. And then, we recur because honestly, the thing that I'll remind people listening is those challenges, they might change color, they might change shape, but they don't disappear. You're going to continually face challenges. And the way that I coach through transition is from a holistic standpoint as well. So it's not just about the professional side. Michael, even with the advent of all these AI tools out there, every business ultimately is still run by a human. And every human on this planet, there are very few things that level set every human. We all only have 24 hours in the day to get done what we need to get done. It's how you use those hours during the day that's important. And honestly, Michael, I'm not 100% sure maybe how you operate right here, but I can't imagine you're someone who spends 24 hours in the day, working to build full throttle Falato leads. You
No.
have to find those things that recharge you. I know you do jujitsu, right? That's probably one of those battery packs that you have. I like to listen to music. Other leaders that I've coached, they go to the gym, they hydrate, they go take a walk. I have two dogs in my house. I
Mm.
take the dogs for a walk. Those are the things that recharge my battery, and those are unique to me. They're unique to you, and they're unique to each of the leaders out there listening today.
What what's a cool tip? I mean, what's a cool strategy like tech? Maybe it's AI even that you learned that you like. I learned about Delphi.ai.
Sure.
I made a twin of me. That was pretty cool. Blaze.ai I learned is a way to post content without me screwing around with it. So when I do these roundtables on my lead gen approach, I
Yep.
say, hey, what's two things that you learned that was really cool that product wise that you can pass on? Because I think that's how we find really cool
Yeah.
tips.
So one of my favorites, it actually helped me with publishing my first book, was one that was called Audio Pen.
Audio.
It's Audio Pen.
Okay.
It's created by who's now a friend of mine, Luis Pereira, and it's a tool. It's an audio transcription AI tool. You speak into this, and it uses AI and machine learning to unfuzzy your text and your language. It transformed my ability to write my book. It
No more
transformed
ghost. You don't
my
need
ability.
ghostwriters or well, not ghostwriters, but people to help you with your book as much then, right?
Right, exactly. And this is a tool, I've realized my own gaps in my life, Michael, which is
That's
important to
cool.
say from a self-awareness. This has a slider to either more or less unfuzzy your text.
Wow.
So
That's a
my
great idea.
wife has
Great
my
product.
wife has told me for years that I can talk in circles and I'm obtuse. But also think about, you're writing a long form piece of content, you're writing a book, you're trying to summarize something. How much easier is it rather than brain to fingertips to keyboard to spell check and Grammarly and
Oh,
notifications popping up? How much more straight out of the depths of your brain is speaking out loud and having it be perfectly transcribed? And
I
that's
mean,
where
yeah,
audio pen was, because of the unfuzzying nature of it, was powerful.
yeah.
But how many times, even using, say, Chat GPT, do I sit and start to type something and then I hit the transcription button just because I can spit it out of my head a lot faster than I can type it?
Yeah, I use Whisper.ai .flow. I think it's called WISPR. Just so I don't have to type. But I think that's definitely different because this is helping you write a book.
Right, right.
What's who should reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you?
I mean, anyone who feels like maybe they're secretly burning out inside can reach out. We can hop on a quick 20-minute foundational call where we start to talk about what's happening there. It's about installation though, is what I'll reminder. So much coaching is still trapped in inspiration, being built around how do I get fired up? How do I get you moving? But, you know, I'm not against any of that. My question always is what's still there on, say, like a Thursday afternoon when your kid is sick, your pipeline feels wrong, you're tired, three things have gone sideways, and the excitement isn't there. That's when installation culture comes into play, right? How do you operate when life gets loud so you don't fall apart? How do you make decisions under pressure? How do you handle uncertainty? And that's what we get into in those foundational calls. You can head to my website at adamwbarney.com. If you just throw into any LLM, any search platform, Adam W. Barney, I'm the only one who pops up. Connect with me, find me on LinkedIn, schedule a foundation call, and let's chat.
Thanks for your time, Adam. Good talking to you.
You got it. Thank you for having me, Michael. I appreciate it.